All right, we're back to the last part of sleep and wakefulness, and we are now going to talk about sleep disorders. Now, sometime in our life, we might have experienced a sort of a symptom of sleep disorders. Sleep disorders generally are disturbances in the quantity, quality, and behaviors that we have during sleep, which means that sometimes we sleep too little or too much, or there are unusual behaviors that we perform during sleep. Those are parasomnias. So that's insomnia, uh, hypersomnia, and parasomnia. Too little sleep, too much sleep, and disturbances. Right. So let's first talk about insomnia. And this is characterized by too little sleep. No, marami sa atin may experience this. There are a lot of factors that influence this, such as noise, when we are stressed. There's a lot of things going on in our mind. Our diet could also influence or could lead to insomnia, and certain medications could lead to insomnia. It could also be the result of disorders such as epilepsy, Parkinson's, depression, anxiety, and condition. But before you panic and say, tala, baka meron kong ganito, it's important to first understand where the insomnia is coming from. Without an understanding, the question might be, is insomnia the problem or insomnia a symptom of other problems? Parang ganon siya. No? So, while we could take sleeping pills and other substances to help us get to sleep, it could have long-term effects in terms of being dependent on these substances. And we don't want that. So there are times that your sleep problem is because of you did not, kasi nga 'di ba meron tayong circadian rhythm. So your body has a programmed na natural timing for sleep, but because of studying among others, we do not sleep as early as our body wants us to. So what happens is, let's say for example, this is your circadian rhythm. The ideal state is that when your body temperature goes down, that's also the best period for you to get to sleep. However, there are times when our body fails to get to the optimal temperature, na- the set point temperature for preparing to sleep. It's still at the warm stage, so that you experience a phase delay. No? Your sleeping habit and your body is not in sync. Either you are delayed, which means that you slept too early before your body gets to the desired temperature, or you slept too late before your body got to the desired temperature. That's why sleeping, if we take anything from this idea, siguro, that's to get yourself to sleep, it is better if you are in a cool room, there is a proper ventilation. If you don't have that with you, you take a bath to get your body to cool down before you sleep, because temperature is essential. It's communicating to your body that you're getting to sleep. Aside from the habituating effects, sleep apnea is a sleep disorder that's, we often think of this as kanang maghago, no? Snoring. Pero it's more severe than that because it's the inability to breathe while sleeping for a prolonged. Ana, so that could lead to disruptions in the sleep because of sudden waking. So during the day, you are sleepy, there's fatigue, and because you did not have sleep, you also experience low mood. Yeah, and sometimes it could lead to cardiac problems. Yeah. The causes is associated with obesity and deterioration of brain mechanism. Sometimes they perform surgeries to remove the muscles that block, ano ba, fatty substances that block the throat during sleep. Surgically remove it. that reduces sleep apnea, pero it does not reduce the um, cardiac problems risk, because these people oftentimes still remain to be obese. It could lead to cognitive impairment because of hypoxia. Your brain does not receive sufficient oxygen while sleeping. Para kang nasakal ng sarili mong laman. Alright. So treatment could be, there's a mask that you have to wear that opens up your breathing uh, breathing things here. But it's uncomfortable, so people don't like it. So surgery is one. But reducing weight, no, weight reduction programs could also support um, treatment for a sleep apnea. The second kind is, so insomnia and sleep apnea is reduction in sleep. The other one is excessive sleepiness naman ito. So, characterized by frequent periods of sleepiness. There's narcolepsy. And this happens when the person is walking the dog, ganyan, tapos bigla siyang parang mawalan ng lakas yung mga muscles niya, cataplexy siya. Yeah. Particularly kung na-stress, meron yung during wedding na-stress, nagcataplexy, nahimatay, tapos nakatulog because it's an attack of narcoleptic na episode. Yeah, it's gradual, or there's an exam and then you suddenly feel narcoleptically wanting to be excused from the exam or whatsoever. It can also manifest as sleep paralysis, as inability to move while falling asleep. And sometimes there's hallucinations associated with narcolepsy. There's hypnagogic na hallucinations. It's like you're awake, you're asleep, awake in the middle, and then you see things. It's very dreamlike ang experience. Pero it's not as asleep as you would be in dreaming. Yeah. There's a genetic uh, vulnerability to this one. But one of the findings is that there's a dramatic decrease of orexin, which is necessary to keep us awake, produced by the hypothalamus. And treatment could be stimulant drugs to increase wakefulness by enhancing dopamine and norepinephrine, your excitatory neurotransmitters in the cortex, right? There's also periodic limb movement. This is different from restless leg syndrome. In periodic limb movement, it occurs while sleeping, while your restless leg syndrome is magsipa-sipa ka. There's a discomfort. I, I don't know if it's a diagnosed na RLS, pero there's a discomfort of, ano ba, masarap lang siyang igalaw-galaw, like twisting my feet, like ikot, ikot, ikot ng ganyan. Tapos if you stop the movement, you feel uncomfortable. So hindi ka makatulog kasi iniikot mo na iniikot yung paa mo. So sometimes there are people na ako, it's just my left ankle. But there are others na mag-restless arms din sila, tsaka restless legs, tapos dalawang paa. No, sometimes it's also, pero it comes up when you are lying down and getting to sleep. But periodic limb movement is when you are asleep, you start kicking. There might be associations with the lack of inhibition of the connections of the motor cortex with the somatic nervous system. And this usually occurs during NREM sleep, stages 1 to 3, 4. There's also REM behavior disorder, which might be associated with sleepwalking, sleep eating, among others activities na they would walk around, their eyes are open, they have like awareness of their movement, pero they are not awake, as in awake na, conscious of what we are doing. There's a sense of voluntariness in our activities. Yeah, it's acting out dreams. So the reason for this might be inadequate GABA, the inhibitory neurotransmitter. So that the motor cortex and the connections of the motor cortex with the somatic cortex is not properly inhibited. So that while the rest of the brain is active in dreams, the motor cortex and the rest of the body acts out the dream. Hindi naman sila, well, there are instances where there's a medical legal na issue there. Yeah, I've been reading through some articles for this one ba. In uh, sexsomnia where they commit mga sexual activities during asleep. Yeah, I've read 4 cases. Tapos, there's an intramarital rape, kanon. Yeah. But it's difficult to study. Just because you cannot attach people. I mean you cannot easily simulate this kind of behavior in a laboratory setting. Right. Night terrors are different from nightmares in terms of intensity. The anxiety is so intense, a person might wake up screaming, and this usually occurs during NREM sleep. And when the person awakens, there might not be a dream associated with the night terror. There's just an intense anxiety. There's sort of like it has similar presentations with nocturnal na mga panic attacks. Pero yeah, sleepwalking, on the other hand, is when people act out their dreams, or sometimes even when you wake a person that's sleepwalking, they do not remember their dreams. So it's not harmful to awaken a person who sleepwalks. There's no harm in that. It's a myth. In fact, it might be necessary so that don't hurt themselves or other people while they are sleep doing activities. Right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So why do we have these stages? Why sleep? Why do we have REM? Why do we have dreams? And these are evolved mechanisms to force us to sleep. And there are different theories about dreams. Essentially, we need sleep because it's a time for muscles to repair uh, their fatigue. Yeah. And it's also evolutionarily valuable because before, during the older primate history, na it's night, there is no artificial light, so they won't be able to hunt and gather food during the night. So it's pointless to have a higher state of metabolism. Yeah. So those primates, ano ba tawag natin, mga evolutionary ancestors natin who had the same level of metabolism during day and night are less likely to survive because their bodies will be aging faster and they will be exhausted more quickly than those who decrease their level of metabolism and sleep at night. It also is essential for cellular maintenance in neurons and in reorganizing synapses and strengthening memories. Sleep is necessary for consolidation of memory, which means that your memories that you have gathered throughout the day are integrated together. The connections of the uh, neurons that hold those memories are strengthened so that the memory would be moved to a long-term storage. Research has found that your sleep plays an important role in enhancing our learning and strengthening our memory. Individuals who are sleep deprived perform poorly in learning and memory tasks. So that there is also increased brain activity in the area of the brain activated by a newly learned task while one is asleep, which tells us that in sleep, even in sleep, my dog is dreaming. Ano kayang hinahabol niya? Even in sleep, your brain is rehearsing all the things that you have learned throughout the day. Notable activations in the hippocampus are also observed during sleep, which further support the idea that your brain replays your experiences through your memory. It time travels when you are sleeping. It's a mental time travel to better uh, the level of processing of those information will be deeper so that you can recall it more easily. So there's a study that found that sleep spindles is correlated with nonverbal IQ. So the healthier our sleeping habits, the better our memory would be. We have better chance of learning the material that we have to learn, which is very paradoxical, di ba? Kasi we have to um, magsunog ng kilay just to learn and memorize things. Of course, we recall also on the other side of that there's plasticity. While we do not know if other animals dream like we would, we know because we experience it. There are several theories about why we dream. And the first theory is the activation synthesis hypothesis, and the other one is the neurocognitive hypothesis. The activation synthesis hypothesis suggests that dreams are usually spontaneous activities of neural activation, and then the cortex, because of the lack of sensory input, eh, wala man although your eyes are closed, you might have some tactile na information, the smell, etc., etc. Pero most of the sensory input is internal, and then there's an activation of these different areas of the brain, and the brain is trying to create a story from that pattern of activation. Yeah, so it synthesizes. It supports the idea that your brain is a predictive machine in terms of it tries to use the random activations during dreaming state and creates a narrative out of it that will support a prediction of what happens in the real world. Not prediction of the future, pero prediction of how you should be interacting with your environment so that you have better chances of survival. The other hypothesis is the neurocognitive hypothesis, which places less emphasis on the pons, unlike with the activation synthesis hypothesis. The neurocognitive hypothesis states that uh, dreams are generated when there is random activation of recent memories and information from the senses. And out of that, there's a narrative that's also created, but it is not solely coming from the pons as in the activation synthesis hypothesis. Because of the little sensory input coming from the external environment, the arousal of the motor cortex is also decreased or suppressed so that we don't act out the narrative that is being created by the brain. So it's like for both theories, the brain is the storyteller. That's the random activations, whether it's in the pons or in the entire cortex. And the brain is also the audience, in that the brain creates the narrative. And there's an interaction between the random activations, pons or cortex, and the story that's generated based on the memories that is available for the brain to access. All right, so those are your two theories or hypotheses for dreaming. So we have talked about sleep disorders. We talked about marked reduction of sleep amount, insomnia, and sleep apnea, and then excessive sleepiness, hypersomnia, such as in narcolepsy, and parasomnias, such as sleepwalking, periodic limb movement, night terrors, and others. In your abnormal psychology subject, you will talk more about there's an entire chapter devoted for sleep disorders. And then we emphasize the idea that your sleep is essential for memory consolidation. Napping might be helpful to get you to better retain the things that you are studying. And when we dream, these are either stories created by the brain from random activations from the pons or other areas of the cortex. Both the brain as the storyteller and the brain as the audience. Right? So if you have questions, you can raise them up in the LMS. Thank you.